Yay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stablecoins Are Killing It, episode number 19. I'm Lou Kerner with Just Stable, and we got a good show for you today. I'm joined by Tony Churyumoff with Obyte. Welcome, Tony.
Hi, Lou. Glad to be on the show.
Tony is joining us from Moscow. I am broadcasting from New York. This is always a very international show. Tony's going to talk about Obyte is a distributed ledger technology platform leveraging the DAG, Directed Acyclic Graph technology. And they're doing some interesting things with stablecoins, leveraging that technology. As always, we'll spend the first 10 or 15 minutes listening to Tony present about Obyte and what they're up to with stablecoins. And we'll spend the last 15, 20 minutes of the call in Q&A with the audience. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat on Zoom. This will be followed up. We'll put a recording of the call up on YouTube, and we'll write a blog post of the 5 or 7 or 10 highlights from the call up on Medium in the next week. And with that, I'll turn it over to Tony. Tony, you want to grab the screen?
Thank you. Okay. I'll talk about bonded stablecoins. It is a completely novel design of stablecoins that we launched exactly one month ago. And it is
Tony, I'm sorry.
On...
Did you? I'm not seeing your screen.
I'm not sharing the screen yet, but I'll start now.
Okay.
Can you enable my screen sharing?
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yep. There you go.
This will stop your screen sharing. Okay.
Okay. There you go.
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Good. Okay, we launched bonded stablecoins exactly 1 month ago, and it is based on a completely novel design, which is based on bonding curves, but I'll get into internal workings of the bonded stablecoins a bit later. First thing that I have to note is that the main user benefit from bonded stablecoins is that it is crypto-backed and it doesn't require over collateralization at all. So end user can just buy those stablecoins. He has to pay $1 worth of crypto in order to buy $1 worth of stablecoins. That's simple. So it is very simple. You can there is the app where you can buy those stablecoins. You type in how many stablecoins you want to buy, and you see how much in crypto you have to pay in order to buy them. That's it. So you put in $1 worth of crypto, and you get back $1 worth of stablecoins. It is basically the main property of those stablecoins that they don't have to be over collateralized, unlike other stablecoins like DAI, where you have to over collateralize it by 150 or even 200% in order just to issue DAI stablecoin. That's basically.
So in this example, what are you're buying IUSD?
Yes, I'm buying IUSD. It is a stable coin which is pegged to US dollar plus percent, some annual percentage that you earn on top of the dollar. I'll get to the percentage.
With,
sorry.
And what are you buying?
You're buying another token, IUSD.
Right, and what are you buying it? What are you buying it with?
I am buying with Gbytes. It is the native currency of Obyte. You can also buy with other crypto on another page where you can pay with, for example, Bitcoins, and Bitcoins get automatically converted to Gbytes behind the scenes, and then Gbytes are converted to the stable coins. So basically you can buy with any crypto.
Right, so in this instance, you're not using your Bitcoin as collateral, you're selling your Bitcoin and trading it for the stable coin.
Correct, yes. You convert Bitcoin to Gbyte and then use Gbyte as a collateral, as a reserve currency to issue the new stable coins.
Okay, so, but, okay. Right, but you're not, there would be no over collateralizing with Bitcoin because obviously you're selling your Bitcoin in this instance.
Yes.
Okay. And then how are you generating the interest on the IUSD?
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later. First, I'll finish with user benefits. First, it is that you do not have to over collateralize. Also, there are some benefits from the domain of safety. People don't think about those until they bite them, but still they're important.
Well, again, and I don't, but again, the idea of not over collateralizing, there is no collateralizing. You're buying it with other currencies, so there is zero collateralization.
Well, I guess the term collateralization is not applicable to this kind of stablecoins because you are buying from a bonding curve. I wanted to talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
And you pay with one currency and you issue another currency, and you have the same value on input and in output. There is also another token, but well, I'll talk about it a bit later. Regarding safety features, you don't have the risk that you will be liquidated. You don't have margin calls, unlike DAI stablecoin and some other coins that are based on debt.
But and again, I mean, I'm just you're completely liquidated, so you can't get any more liquidated than 100%, right? You liquidate your BTC to get the stablecoin.
Right, but there is no CDP or something like that you have in DAI, which can be liquidated if the price goes against you. if the price of the collateral in DAI goes down, your position can be liquidated and you lose your position.
But you lose your position. You lose 100% of your position 100% of the time.
Correct.
Under this.
Yes. And in body stablecoins, you don't have that at all because there is no debt. You just buy those stablecoins and you have them, and you don't have to watch those CDPs that you issued and add collateral in order to ensure that they're not liquidated. And another user benefit you have is that since it runs on a DAG, not a blockchain, there is no risk of front running. And when you send your transaction, it cannot be reordered by miners or by other users who would send a transaction with a higher fee. So you are more or less certain what price you pay, because we'll get to it a little bit later. When you are buying from a bonding curve, it matters who the order of transactions matters, and if your transaction is reordered, you get a worse price. There is such risk in blockchains because transactions are ordered by miners who compose the blocks of the blockchains. But in DAG, you directly add your transaction to the ledger, and nobody can change the order of those transactions.
Are you gonna share? Because I think I know what a direct acyclic graph is. Are you gonna share a kind of a picture of one, diagram of one, so that just to help people understand how a DAG is different from the normal blockchain they're used to?
Sure. I open the Explorer where you can see the recent transactions, and it draws the DAG. So you can see that it is not linear most of the time. Sometimes it is linear when there is low traffic, but it forks and merges many times like this. So there are many transactions happening in parallel. This is in real time what is happening on the Obyte DAG right now.
So what's the TPS capability, transactions per second?
It is currently we use I think 0.1 transaction per second, but the capacity is well, theoretical is of course unlimited. There are no artificial limits like block sizes, but technical implementation that is operational now, it puts a limit at about 15 to 30 transactions per second, depending on hardware. But it is not, as I said, we are using only a small percentage of this capacitor right now, so it is not a pressing issue to increase the TPS. Okay, back to stablecoins. So one can issue stablecoins that are pegged to basically anything. The example you see on my screen is a stablecoin that is pegged to US dollar. You can also issue coins that are pegged to some other assets, for example, to Bitcoin, to gold, and even to Gbyte. And you also can issue stable coins that are pegged to some assets plus some interest, which we did. For example, the USD pegged stablecoin is not exactly USD, but USD plus 16% annual interest. So we just set a target price, which changes according to the price of the benchmark, and the price of benchmark plus interest, and the bonded mechanism pushes the price to this target, whatever it is. So you can basically issue coins pegged to anything. If you like, you can issue a coin that is pegged to, for example, the number of your Twitter followers. It is also possible, as long as there is an oracle that reports the number of your Twitter followers. So now let's get to learn a bit about how it works. There is some math behind all this. The bonded stable coins are based on bonding curves. The basic idea is that there are several tokens. We use a two-dimensional bonding curve, and there is two tokens, and you put in a reserve currency, for example, Gbyte, the native currency of Obyte, and you get back any of the other tokens. You can say, for example, I want one unit of token 1 and 2 units of token 2. And you calculate according to the bonding surface how much reserve you have to add. You send this amount of the reserve currency to the autonomous agent that issues the stable coins, and you get back the tokens that you requested. So you can issue several of those tokens, two tokens on the two-dimensional bonding curve, and the prices of those tokens, they constantly change. They depend on the supplies of the amounts of the currencies already issued. So once you issue new tokens, you immediately change the price. And the next guy who issues more tokens, he'll buy them at some other price. So the price constantly changes, and it depends on the supplies of both tokens.
But I assume there's no arbitrage opportunity. In other words, if you buy tokens and then you sell them back, that the curve would have it be at the same prices. That you wouldn't be able to generate profits just by trading back and forth over the bonding curve.
Oh, well, there is arbitrage opportunity because there is a mechanism that pushes the price of one of the tokens to the target, and this mechanism is called a capacitor. The idea is very simple. Whenever you buy or sell to the curve, you change the price, and whenever you change the price of one of the tokens, away from the peg, you have to pay a fee extra on top of what you normally pay. And if you doing a transaction that changes the price back to the peg, you get a reward. And the reward is paid from the capacitor which accumulated those the fees previously in order to pay you this reward. So this fee and reward incentivizes traders to only trade, only do those trades that change the price to the peg, and it rewards them for those actions, and punishes them for the actions that change the price of the stable token, or the token that is supposed to be stable, away from the price, from the peg. This is the mechanism that keeps the price of one of the tokens stable. It is a kind of soft peg because the price can go away from the peg, but as soon as it goes away, there is immediately a higher fee for pushing it farther away, and a reward for pushing it back to the target price. Since we're on a two-dimensional Bondi curve, we can change the supplies of both tokens in order to achieve the desired price. So we have some flexibility. There is an infinite number of points on the curve that allow to have the desired price of one of the tokens. So we can keep one of the tokens, its price, close to the peg, while the price of the other token changes in order to keep the price of the other token close to the peg. So we can set any target that can be reported by an oracle. We can also add interest to this target, which we did, and thus we created interest tokens. We also call them stable plus coins. Those are stable coins that also earn interest on top of a stable value. And there is also another token which serves as a governance token, and its price depends on the amount of the stable of the stable tokens issued. So the holders of this governance token, they are interested in getting more people to issue those stable plus tokens. The stable plus tokens are not exactly stable. That's why they are stable plus. And in order to create a really stable token, there is an option to strip this interest from the stable plus token by putting it on a deposit and getting a really stable token in exchange. And then the one who opens a deposit can later withdraw interest that accrues over time, withdraw it from the deposit. So they can have both have a real stable coin and at the same time receive interest from those deposits. Here we get to the point which is very important, why we chose DEG for this stablecoin, why DEG is the most appropriate platform for bonded stablecoins. Since we always buy from a bonding curve and the prices always change, it is important to have predictable prices. And in blockchains where miners can reorder transactions, they can insert their own transactions in the blocks before your own. You can send a transaction and then a miner inserts his own, and he is the first to execute his transaction on the bonding curve. And when your transaction executes, it gets a bad deal. Also, not just miners, anybody can send a transaction with a higher fee and make sure that that transaction is ordered earlier in the block. So again, you would get a bad deal by transaction with the bonding curve on the blockchain. On a DEG, and Obyte is a DEG, there is much more predictability about the price you would get from the bonding curve, because you directly add your transaction to the ledger, to the DEG, and nobody can remove it and insert it elsewhere. It's just impossible because it's already linked to other transactions by referencing their hashes and so on. And there are new transactions on top of your transaction, and it becomes virtually impossible to remove it. So the order of transactions on the DEG is much more certain, and you can be certain about what price you will get from a bonding curve. You asked about arbitrage opportunities. They exist when the price goes away from the peg, and when the traders know that it will go back to the peg, that they, in this case, they rush to be the first to transact against the curve, because for holders of the governance token, if the price goes, for example, below the peg, and you need to buy the tokens, if the price of the governance token goes below the peg and you need to buy it, by buying it, you increase the price and you are interested to be the first to buy it while it's still cheap. And obviously the opposite, when you need to correct the price down, you want to be the first to sell while the price is high, to get a small profit from the difference between the selling price and the equilibrium price it is targeted to. So that's basically the idea how it works. That's, well, maybe not very trivial math that governs the issue of bonus stablecoins. But again, the main property that they give to end users, that it is very straightforward, very simple to buy those tokens. You send one crypto and you get a stablecoin back. Okay, I guess you have some questions.
Okay, terrific. So I will take back the hosting, and I will take the first question. Hold on just a moment. Let's see. Daryl is changing. What's going on here? Just one moment. Seeing how to take it back. Can you hand it back up? There you go. Okay. Okay. Terrific. So we're going to get our first question from Ganesh. Ganesh, you should now be a panelist. There you go.
Thanks, Lou. So I'm Ganesh. I'm a researcher in stablecoins at Warwick Business School. So I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. So in terms of these two tokens, so you offer this growth token and interest-bearing token. So I was just curious, in the reserve rule, you have essentially a higher elasticity of the reserve to the growth token compared to the interest bearing token. I wanted to ask why that's the case, like in terms of the power sort of functions of that rule. And I also wanted to ask, as an investor, do you try to like optimize the weights in the growth and interest bearing token? And in terms of the kind of way to stabilize the price, the how it works description kind of implied that you know the price impact of trades. So you know exactly how much it would move, a given trade would move the price away from one to calibrate the fees or rewards. And I was just not sure whether you can come up with a precise estimate of the price impact. And if so, do you need to just rely on private investors arbitraging as opposed to calibrating fees and rewards?
Okay, the first question was about elasticity of the tokens. Yes, we have in the default implementation of the Barney curves, we selected the power 2 for the governance token and power 1/2 for the interest token. It is important to have a power above 1 for the growth token, for the governance token, in order to make it to make sure that the price of this token grows with its supply. So when we need to correct the price up, when it is lower than it should be, there is an incentive to buy low in order to sell high, because by increasing the supply of those tokens, by buying those tokens, we would increase their price. This goes in line with the incentives of arbitrageurs, so they can profit from correcting the price back to the peg. Maybe I forgot the other questions.
So just to kind of clarify, so the governance token and the interest-bearing token, so every investor will hold both tokens simultaneously, but... No,
they don't have to. They can, but they don't have to hold both. They can choose what they buy.
And if the growth token is not pegged, right? So what are so in terms of which token you are after, like does it depend on kind of the investor's risk preferences, or like, so why would an investor choose the growth token versus the interest-bearing token?
Mm-hmm. The growth token by definition is a speculative asset. It is essentially a bet on the growth of the ecosystem, because as more interest tokens are issued, we need to issue the corresponding number of growth tokens too, in order to keep the price. So this means that more growth tokens need to be issued too, and their price grows because we have the power more than one on the curve. So the holders of the growth tokens, they enjoy the price increase of their token when interest tokens are issued. And the interest tokens are for investors of a different profile who just want to have a stable, predictable growth of the value of their tokens. I want to have 16% per year. That's okay for me, but it is stable. It can't go down much, and so on. So for this kind of more conservative investors, it is the right token. Also, if you, for those who are not investors but just need a stable coin in order to pay to a merchant, they need to first issue the interest token, then put it on a deposit to strip off the interest, and then they can use the stable token. So those two tokens are targeted to different kinds of investors.
Okay. So let's say you have an increase in the growth of the interest-bearing token. So you're saying that should cause an increase in the value of the growth token as well, and that's
yes.
through because I guess so. So using the bonding curve equation, so you've got an increase in the quantity of interest-bearing tokens that increases reserves. And so does that also imply that you need to increase the issuance of growth tokens as well?
Yes, they go in sync. If you issue interest tokens, you also need to issue some growth tokens in order to return the price to the peg. When you issue just one token, you always push the price a bit away from the peg. And in order to return it back to the peg, you need to issue more growth tokens.
Okay.
So those issues have to go in sync.
But an investor doesn't have to hold both of them, right? So this is in aggregates, they go in sync.
Yes. It is one kind of investors. They buy more interest tokens, for example. Then another kind of investors, more speculative-like investors, they buy growth tokens to enjoy the growth, the future growth, if they believe in it, of the ecosystem.
Okay, just one final question. Can you talk a little bit about the rewards and fees that you pay if there's a deviation from the peg? So I guess my main concern was that how do you figure out the price impact of a trade? So if you think a trade is going to push the price away from one, how do you know how to calibrate the fee or reward for that trade?
Well, it's simple. It is easy to see how a trade would change our position on the bonding curve, and how it would change the price, and how far the final price will be from the target price. And based on the difference between the final price and the target price, the fee is applied. And the larger the difference, the larger the fee. There is a simple formula that says how much you have to pay in fees for that large deviation from the target. And the same goes in the reverse direction.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, thanks, Ganesh. We had a question from a viewer who's unable to go on audio or video, and I think I know the answer, but they were asking what happens if there is a 50% price drop in the reserve currency.
Well, if it happens, it obviously can happen. Then we immediately go off peg, and so we're on this price, and the target price is different. And for arbitrageurs, there is a strong incentive to trade this difference. For holders of the growth tokens, they need to buy more tokens, more growth tokens, in order to, because as they buy, the price of the growth tokens grows. So they want to be the first to buy.
Okay.
That's the nature of the bonding curve.
We have another question asking what the governance token is used for.
It's used for governance. It can be used to vote for to adjust various parameters. For example, the fee that is charged for the deviation of the price from the target. It can be more steep or less steep, and this parameter can be adjusted. So you can punish harder for the deviation from the target, or you can punish lighter. Also, they can change the oracles that report the price. Also, the holders of the governance token can change the interest rate that is targeted if they think that, for example, 16% is not enough to attract more buyers of the interest tokens. They can increase it, or sometime later they may decide to decrease, and so on. And
is Obyte fully decentralized now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and we have another question from the audience. Let me see if that person wants to come up. Let's see, hold on just a moment. I'll bring you up on stage. Asa, you are now a panelist. If you want to ask that question yourself. Asa, you're muted. Did you have a question?
Hello. Yes.
Hey.
Hi. Nice to see you all, and it's really exciting what you have done, Tony. And you had a question about why exactly the 16% interest tokens.
Why 16?
16% interest tokens you have there. Why exactly 16%?
Well, it's the initial value. The holders of governance token may decide to change it in either direction. Just I thought that 16% is would be good for the initial value because it is about the same that various lending protocols give in DeFi right now. So to be competitive with other offerings, it should be slightly higher, but not much higher.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Asti. Okay, if anybody has any more questions, again, put them into the chat function. We'll give it just another moment to see if anybody has any questions. But Tony, it was a super interesting. It was, you know, this is a dense topic, stablecoins, and I think this is as dense stablecoins are killing it as we've had. I look forward to listening to the replay and writing up the blog post because I still think I've got a lot to learn. But so thank you for coming and sharing with us today what you're up to at Obyte, and thanks everybody for attending. And we'll see you next week at Stablecoins Are Killing It #20. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.